Last we met, I named the routes to your first 100,000. Today we sail each one. Roll out the chart, my dear viewer, and light the lamp, because knowing the routes exist is not the same as knowing which is yours. There is no single road to the treasure. There is a map, and a map read properly does not tell you where to go. It tells you what each passage will cost, what it will demand of you, and which one your particular ship was built to sail. So today we walk the deck of every vessel in the harbor. By the end, you will know your route. The game is afoot. Here is the first error, and nearly everyone makes it. They ask, what is the way to make money? As if there were one true passage guarded and the whole game were finding the secret door. There is no secret door. There is a coastline with a dozen harbors and a dozen ways to reach each one. The captain who waits for the one perfect route dies in the harbor, provisioned and ready, having never once left the dock. The gap between what you earn and what you keep is your compass always. But the compass only points, it does not row. The vessel you choose, the route you sail, that part is yours. And any honest route, sailed with patience, reaches the same shore. And read the whole map, not just the pretty parts. Every chart you have ever seen was drawn by the ships that made port. The ones that sank drew nothing, they simply stopped sending letters. So when a route looks effortless, ask who's not here to tell you it wasn't. This is the detective's habit, my dear viewer. Attend to the dog that did not bark. The silent failures are the most important evidence on the whole map. Choose your route for the water beneath it, the odds, the real demands, and not for the flag flying at the top of the mast. Now to the harbor. 5 ships wait. Let us board each in turn. The first ship is the plainest in the harbor and the most ignored. Raise your main income. I know you wanted a secret. This is not a secret. It is a lever, the largest one you own, and most sailors never lay a hand on it. Picture the deckhand who, instead of grumbling below decks, learned the one skill the ship could not run without. Within a year, they were not asking for a raise. They were the reason the ship still sailed. Then they did the quiet, uncomfortable thing. They let a rival captain know they could be tempted. And the wage moved the way wages only ever seem to move, when you are willing to walk down the gangplank. Here is the uncomfortable law of the docks. The sailor who stays loyal and waits to be noticed is, more often than not, paid less than the one who moves. Not because loyalty is wrong, but because a still ship is easy to overlook. So become the one they cannot run the vessel without, and then let the wider sea know you exist. This is not disloyalty, it is navigation. And the beauty of the mainsail is its quiet compounding. A wage raised once is raised for every month that follows, and every raise after that stacks upon the last. It is boring, it is unglamorous, and across 10,000 voyages it is very nearly undefeated. The second ship carries those who forge their own blade, a high-income skill, sales, software, welding, plumbing, nursing, accounting, a trade the market pays well for. Picture the one who spent their evenings not scrolling but sharpening, who was clumsy for months, then merely competent, then one ordinary Tuesday valuable. That is the shape of every skill worth having, a long dull climb and then leverage, because a paid skill is a printing press you carry in your own 2 hands. No one can take it from you. It sails with you from ship to ship, port to port, and it does not care what the economy is doing, so long as someone, somewhere, needs the thing you can do. And here is the deduction the world resists. A single rare skill is good, 2 ordinary skills stacked are often rarer still. The competent writer is common. The competent writer who also understands numbers is not. Stack your blades and you become the only ship of your kind in the harbor. Now weigh this against the well-worn path, 4 years and a mountain of debt for a certificate the market may not even want. I do not say never, I say weigh it honestly. A trade you can learn in months that pays from the very first job will very often outrun a grand degree that ends in a debt you spend a decade bailing out. Learn the thing that pays. Let the letters after your name come later, if at all. The third ship is the quickest to launch because you already own it. A service, not some random hustle you saw at midnight, but the thing you are already good at, sold to someone who needs it. Design, writing, tutoring, repair, cleaning, hauling, fixing. Picture the one who stopped waiting for permission and simply offered, I can do this for you this week. The first client was terrifying, the second was easier. By the 10th, it was a trade. A service needs almost no gold to begin, no warehouse, no investors, no grand launch. It asks only that you be useful, and that you have the nerve to ask to be paid for it. And unlike the grander schemes, it pays you this month, not someday. But the service has one reef, and nearly every new captain runs upon it. They undercharge, terrified of hearing no, they price themselves like a stowaway and then drown in work that barely feeds them. Hear me, a fair price is not greed, it is seaworthiness. Charge too little and you cannot afford to do good work, and the whole venture sinks under the weight of its own kindness. Raise your rate before you feel ready, my dear viewer. The clients worth keeping will pay it. The ones who leave were the ones dragging your hull along the seabed. A service is not about being the cheapest ship in the harbor. It is about being worth the fare. The fourth ship is the strangest in the fleet. It sits at anchor silent for a long, long time, and then if you have built it well, it begins to sail without you. An asset that scales, content, a digital product, a small business with systems in place of just your own two hands. Picture the one who wrote or built or filmed into the silence for a year, hearing nothing but the creak of their own effort while friends ask gently when they might give it up. And then one day the wind. This is the route with the highest ceiling on the entire map and the slowest, cruelest start. It may pay nothing for a year, and then quietly more than your job. And here is where the bold so often wreck. They hear the words highest sailing, and they leap off the oars to chase it, abandoning a steady wage before the new ship can float. Do not build the scaling asset beside your income in the evenings, in the margins, on the strength of the roots that already feed you. Let it prove it can catch wind before you trust it with your life. The payoff, when it finally comes, is beautifully unfair. You build the thing once and it works while you sleep, sells while you eat, earns while you tend to another sail entirely. But that gift is earned only by the patient, and only by those who did not drown while waiting for it. The fifth ship barely looks like a ship at all. It has no cannons, no flags, no thrill. It is the boring captain who takes a portion of every coin that lands, buries it broadly, and then crucially walks away and leaves it in the dark. Investing simply, and mark this carefully because here is where the whole map is so often misread. This is not how you earn your first 100,000. It is how you keep it and grow it while the other routes do the earning. The gold you save is not meant to sit idle in the chest, rusting and tempting thieves. It is meant to be planted quietly, where the tide itself can find it and make it grow. 4 words for the whole route: broad, low cost, automatic, and left alone. Broad so that no single sinking ship can drag you down with it. Low cost so the ferrymen and their fees do not quietly eat your whole voyage. Automatic so the saving happens the very day the coins land before your crew can spend them. And then the hardest part of all, left alone. The captain who digs up the buried chest every week to count it only wears out the map and loses his nerve in every passing storm. Bury it. Note where it lies, and then, my dear viewer, have the discipline to look away and let the long years do the work your two hands never could. Now a revelation that undoes the whole false question. You do not choose one ship and burn the rest. Nearly every soul who reaches that first 100,000 sails 2 or 3 of these routes at once. A steady wage raised, a skill sharpened on the side, a small service on the weekends, and a portion of it all quietly invested. The routes are not rivals, they are a fleet. The wage buys you time. The skill raises the wage. The service tests whether an asset might one day float. The investment quietly catches everything the others earn. This is why the question was never which single path. It was always, how shall I combine them, given the ship I actually have? So let us deduce yours, a few plain questions, and the map narrows quickly. Do you have a skill someone would pay for today? Then cast the net, the service, and let it feed you this month. Do you have time and patience, but no such skill yet? Then forge one the blade and raise your mainsail while it sharpens. Do you already have a steady wage and a little margin in your evenings? Then begin building the ship that sails without you slowly beside it. And whatever you have, take a portion of every single coin and bury it. There. The map was never asking you to become someone else. It was asking what you already hold and where, honestly, you could begin this very week. But a map is not only harbors, it is also reefs, marked in red, drawn from the ships that split upon them. You know them from our last case, so I will only point as we pass. The get-rich-quick trade, a casino with prettier charts. The passive income fantasy, where the only reliable gold is made selling shovels to dreamers. The guru whose true trade is teaching, not doing. The delusion that you can outfrugal a small income, forever scraping a hull that simply needed a bigger sail. And the quietest wreck of them all, waiting to feel ready, forever charting, never once leaving. Sail wide of these 5, and half the whole battle is already won. And beneath all 5 routes, running like a keel through every one, are the same 2 timbers, the gap between what you earn and what you keep, and the flat refusal to stop rowing. Change the route as often as the season demands. Sail the wage this year, the skill the next, the asset the year after that, but those 2 timbers never change. Widen the gap, keep rowing. Every honest passage on the entire map is built upon exactly those, and no clever shortcut has ever been found that lets a sailor skip them. And that, my dear viewer, is not the bad news. That is the very best news on the whole chart, because both of them sit entirely within your own 2 hands. So which route is best? Here is the answer no chart seller will ever give you, because there is no product to sell inside it. The best route is not the fastest on paper, nor the one with the highest ceiling, nor the one that happened to make some stranger rich. The best route is the one you will actually sail tomorrow and the day after and the dull gray day after that, when no one is watching and the wind has died to nothing. A modest route sailed for years beats a magnificent route abandoned in a month. Every single time, the treasure does not reward the cleverest map. It rewards the sailor who put a boat in the water and then simply, stubbornly refused to turn back. So there's your map, my dear viewer. Walk deck by deck. 5 real routes, the reefs between them and the 2 timbers beneath them all. You do not need permission or a perfect plan or a secret door. You need only to choose the ship your own two hands can sail and leave the harbor this week. If this cleared the fog even a little, subscribe and row with the crew. There are many more cases ahead. And tell me in the comments, which route are you sailing first? The wage, the blade, the net, the ship, or the tide? Next case, what that first 100,000 truly unlocks and why the number was never really the treasure. Until then, keep your ledger honest and your cutlass sharp. The game is afoot. Deduce your way to treasure.